mean that our battle is not strong. It's not nothing to harm us. Because when we stand Yes, I know. Yeah, but that's good. Good. It's I just yeah. To Africa. Uhuru. Wow. She's a god. Always so incredible to see Conrad site. So in September, the US government's baseless attempt to criminalize the Uhuru Three and to smear our movement came to a decisive end. Chairman said it best, the US government lied and lost the people, the African People's Socialist Party. We spoke the truth and we won. guided us to this moment of undeniable truth. From his early days, when he was called Joe Waller, courageously confronting the colonial structures in St. Petersburg, Florida, to emerging as our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, the visionary founder of the African People's Socialist Party and the leader of the worldwide African nation. His journey has been one of relentless struggle and unyielding purpose. And under his leadership, we have endured, we have overcome, and through the bold defiance of the Black Power movement, the establishment of the Uhuru movement, and now the resounding victory in the Uhuru 3 trial, comrades, our cause has already secured its place in history. Let it be known, there will not be one day behind bars. And as we gather here in the wake of the historic triumph, let's remember that the forces, the FBI, the oppressors who tried to silence us failed. And under Chairman Omali's leadership, we've demonstrated that the spirit of African liberation is undead and it's our resolve. Yeah. So I invite each and every one of you to rise and give a revolutionary salute to the man who has led us with unparalleled vision and courage. Yeah. Let your applause resound with the strength of our unity. Comrade, join me in welcoming Chairman Omali.
I want to say that I appreciate so much, and Jana, who just introduced me, she's a bit prejudiced. Not only is she a member of our party, the Uhuru movement, like her mother and father, were, but she's also my granddaughter. I want to express my deepest appreciation for everybody who not only came out on today, not only who will be there on tomorrow. Not only who will be there on tomorrow, but who've been with us on this journey from the very beginning. Most of you have been there. It's been an extraordinary struggle that we've been involved in. And so I want to say that, and initially I didn't think I was don't say anything. And dear comrade Leonard, there are three of the lawyers. There's Tom Hinsky. Abby Griffin, yeah. I want to say that it's been a challenging last 2 or 3 years with this case. My wife has been a central feature, a real force during this entire process that we've been involved in. What is the name, Chatella? See the Black Power man just walked in the room. That's really Mukasa Ricks, for those who don't know. The brother popularized the term Black Power during the 1960s. And I just wanted to just say a couple of things about my wife, because most of this building, in terms of how it looks, much of the development surrounding it is due to the work that she's done.
Yeah.
The attacks being made on us have to do with the 53 economic institutions that we have created that struggles to neutralize or negate the power of colonialism. That's right. And Owners and Chatella has been at the apex of that. We're not an organization that fights for downward mobility. We're not looking to find more Black people. That's not our objective. Sometimes we might wear ripped jeans, but our objective is not downward mobility. We want to raise the people up. That's what the struggle against colonialism is about, so that we can regain control of our own resources and our own labor. We are not looking for some fantasy fairy tale kind of freedom and liberation. We are looking for liberation that does something to uplift the real material well-being of our people.
That's right. Right.
That's what we've been struggling for.
That's right.
I'm somebody who, to my wife's dismay, this is me, so this is not advice. I don't personally believe in life insurance. I don't like betting against some major corporation that I'm gonna die in time for them to make a lot of money off of it. So what we've done is that we initiated a campaign among ourselves that we would not do life insurance. But here in St. Petersburg, there was a time where some of you may remember, it's not been that long, but long enough, where property values were such that they had downgraded the property values in this city to such an extent that people could buy property.
That's right.
So we bought property. We bought a property for, I think, $10,000 and sold it for $500,000. Because she's smart like that. And we try to get everybody else in the movement to do the same thing. We said, come to St. Louis. Everybody come to St. Louis. They've depressed the cost of housing to such an extent. Come there and get housing, even if you're not particularly interested in owning property, you can leverage for anything else you want. You can use it to get me out of jail. So we really, push that. Like I said, we're not about downward mobility. I mean, there's a fashionable thing that white leftists always, often get involved in, but that's not what we're about. I just wanted to acknowledge Deputy Chair here who presides over, like I said, I think it's 52. Is it 52 economic development, 53 economic development camp programs that we've developed. And because the thing is to uplift the whole people. That's our objective, to uplift the whole people. And I want to thank all of you who have been struggling with us. I'm struggling right now just in terms of this bug that's I'm contending with right now. But we look forward to tomorrow. We're not afraid. We really are not afraid of what has happened. The assault on us. And anybody in this room who's been associated with Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, especially during that Black Power era, like Comrade Fear, like Comrade Willie Mukasa Ricks, you understand that we come from a tradition, this extraordinary tradition SNCC that that was the bridge between the anti-racist kind of politic and the Black Power politic. This anti-colonial Black Power politic. That's what SNCC was. And Comrade Field was part of a team that contributed to developing some of the theoretical basis, the outline for some of the stuff that came to be known as the Black Power movement. And we were part of a critical time in history that we had moved beyond simply begging. We had moved beyond begging and saying, please, let us come into this situation. Even Martin Luther King began to question the value of integrating into a burning house. And the house was on fire then. Those were just embers. But the house is certainly on fire now. So that's a SNCC. And I moved to develop that. I organized right here in this city, the first membership-based SNCC organization in this country. As a membership-based, and it was an extraordinary movement that came out of St. Petersburg, Florida. And we took it everywhere, all around the world. We took it everywhere. And to the next level, as Comrade Field said. And that's what's really important. That's what's come under attack. That's what was under attack with the attack on SNCC. And SNCC came under fierce assault. Some people will remember the so-called bomb that we had in the Philadelphia office, that they had some kind of machine. They could look through packages and see that bombs were being sneaked in there. What's the brother's name out of Houston, Texas, who picked up 15 years a false charge of marijuana? Leotis Johnson. So this war that was being made is around a struggle against self-determination. And it has to be because colonialism legitimizes itself by determining that those who are colonized are inept. We are incapable of serving our own interests. Somebody has to take care of us. And that's why they justify colonialism. If it's not Black people, it's Redskins. They have to come in and rescue us. The logic at one time was that white people had this surplus of Christianity and civilization, and they had to go out and just give it away. And if they had developed a line around that, you heard Rudyard Kipling, who was one of the main apologists for colonialism, who talked about, what was Kipling talking about?
White man's burden.
Say it again.
The white man's burden.
White man's burden. So we don't want to do this, but it's our burden. We have accept responsibility to go out and civilize these African people, civilize the indigenous people and things like that. So that became a mantra. It was a necessary mantra because you're talking about a system that came into being at a time where the European powers were emerging, and Europe itself was being created. Europe was created through enslaving us, through the indigenous, the attack on there was no such thing as Europe when they attacked us and dispersed us all around the world. This is where Europe came into existence. And it was developing this politic, this theory about freedom and democracy and what have you. At the same time it was doing that, and so somebody said, how the hell can you talk about being democratic and free, etc., when you're killing, Africans, you're killing indigenous people, you're doing this all around the world. And so they declared that they did believe in democracy. Listen, I'm not making this up, by the way. This you can find from the philosophers of that period. You can find them debating this question. They said they did believe in democracy and freedom, but that African people and the others of us had to be brought up to the level, up to their level. It was possible to do anything to bring us into civilization. So what they were doing in terms of violence, the attack on rights, the denial of rights, this was part of the process of making us civilized so that we could meet the standards that would allow us to have democracy and the same democracy that white people were having. anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming here, and all of you. I'm still battling this bug, but we're going to go tomorrow, and we've already been victorious. I truly believe that. There are people who are in this room and who will be here between now and tomorrow who never would have come together if it were not for this attack on them. There are people who cross the political spectrum.
Yes.
Who have found the reason. Tucker Carlson, there's no raving left wing, whatever you want to call it. He is not one of those persons, right? And then who was the person that we just did an interview with yesterday? I'm talking about Rick. I'm talking about Dore, Jimmy Dore, Rick. Scott Ritter. You know, these are not leftists and what have you. Scott Ritter, I like Scott Ritter. Because he says, I'm as white as you can get. I am as white as you can get. I'm an American patriot. But I'm here because the issue of free speech. I understand that the issue of free speech, that if we're going to have freedom of speech in this country, we have to push them back on this. He says, this is the free speech issue of the century. Scott Ritter was the white man that they sent into Iraq as a so-called weapons inspector that was supposed to prove weapons of mass destruction existed in Iraq. I didn't know this guy. I didn't know what his politics was. I just kept hearing about this guy who kept saying, there are no weapons of mass destruction here. I started liking him from that point on. And then, you know, he came out and he was able to say that how much he's learned through this process. And that what he has come to understand is that they attack me because they don't want him to hear what I got to say. You understand? And that's what the issue is. So free speech is more than me talking. It's about people having the ability to hear what I got to say. They don't have to agree. But they have the right to hear it because they cannot come to any kind of informed determination unless they hear what I got to say. And so I say the same thing about Donald J. Trump. Some people say, Trump. Yes, I say Trump. Because what they will do is they will take somebody they assume to be the most unpopular person in the world at the moment, or certainly with certain groups, and they will attack basic rights on that person and try to win support for the attack on basic rights. There's no such thing as Donald Trump free speech. There's no such thing as Donald Trump First Amendment. There's no such thing as Donald Trump Bill of Rights. There were no Bill of Rights for Black people when it first came into existence. 1791, we were property. So that's why we had to necessarily be on the vanguard of the issue of free speech, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, and what have you. So I just want to thank you, and please let's show up on tomorrow. Let's come strong and determined. And you know, you've heard it, no head about or anything like that. We have won already, and just this incredible group of people have come together. I think it's extremely important to say that people crossing all kinds of the entire ideological spectrum. People who, some people on the left say, why would you have anything to do with them? Well, the truth of the matter is that the left only talk to leftists. That's right. That's right. That's all the people the left talks to. That's why they go to talk to the people Scott really talks to. That's right. I want the people who talk to Carlson talks to, who believe, I want them to hear me. Yes. Because we have a political line that is logical, that undermines the whole concept of colonialism and gives them an opportunity to get on the right side of history.
Next, I do want to call up Jesse and Penny for an introduction to the lawyers. I know we just had one, but please come forward.
We are winning. My name is Penny, Yes, and I'm one of you three. This is Comrade Jesse Neville. And we have to first of all profoundly
Closer to the mic.
salute our leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella. Who has fought for the liberation and self-determination of Africa and African people for 60 years, regardless of the I just want to say really quickly that the African People's Solidarity Committee is the organization of white people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru movement, and Chairman Omali Shatella. So Chairman is our leadership. Deputy Chair Onizane Shatella is our leadership. The African People's Socialist Party is our leadership. And our work is to organize in the white community to win other white people just like ourselves to stand in solidarity with African and oppressed peoples all around the world for their freedom, to recognize that this system is built on slavery, it's built on genocide, and that white people can join the future by standing for reparations and self-determination and the leadership of African and oppressed people. Introduce our powerful lawyers. And I just want to say something very quickly about that in the 1960s, when the African Revolution, and revolution was the main trend in the world, there were legendary, amazing politicized attorneys and lawyers, such as Kunstler, as William Kunstler, as Charles Gary, as Liz Stewart, who fought and in some cases went to prison themselves for the courageous stand like Lynn Stewart was forced to do. But this is a new period, and the things that I appreciate about our attorneys so profoundly, that in fact it makes me pretty emotional, is that Chairman laid out in the first meeting with the attorneys that this is a political trial, that this is going to challenge the ideas of the ruling class and the law as we know it, as that had happened in the last period. And our attorneys stood up and took that on in such a powerful way. Yeah. And I want to your attorneys as comrades, and I do feel that way. So I would like to for Butaki Akbar to stand up. Leonard Goodman. Abby Griffin at the Tom Institute.
Uhuru. Hands off Uhuru. Uhuru. I just want to salute everybody who's here. I want to join Chairwoman Penny Hess in saluting our leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatella and Deputy Chair Onizane Shatella. And I also want to salute Chairwoman Penny Hess. The African People's Solidarity Committee has been under the leadership of the African Revolution since 1976, when India was founded. And for me, I want to say I am proud to be one of the Uhuru three human beings that have been the greatest leadership and inspiration to me in my entire life. I could not think of a greater honor. Thank you to the U.S. government. that they delivered. And as I think I've said before, I never expected to get a Medal of Honor from the U.S. government, certainly not via flashbang grenade and battering ram, but we'll take it anyway. And as far as our attorneys, before I say that, one other quick thing. She's not one of our lawyers, but she could be a great lawyer.
Yeah.
But I also want to salute my amazing comrade and beloved wife, Comrade. Stand up. Amanda was there at 5 a.m. July 29th with assault rifles pointed at her face, and she didn't flinch, not even a little bit.
She had a recording on it.
That's right. That's right. So she's been just a courageous comrade. I just want to salute you, Amanda. And as far as our attorneys, there's not much I can add, but I just want to quote, some of you might remember this moment. Right after the verdict was announced, the chairman, the Tampa Bay Times described it actually pretty well, and that's not the greatest, anyway, but they said that the defendants had no immediate reaction. Then, Yeshitela strode out of the courtroom on the arms of his supporters and family, raised his fist and said, "Relentless." He was met with jubilant cries of Uhuru. And then he stood on the courthouse steps and said, "Our dream team, our lawyers, our dream team were a nightmare for the prosecutor." So I want to quickly say about each of them, Mutaki Akbar, the one who stood in a federal court and started and ended his opening and closing arguments by saying, say it with me, "Uhuru means freedom." Leonard Goodman, who took on this case pro bono. Let's give a round of applause. Who, along with Angela Rainey, who I want to say something about next, authored a brilliant and historic motion to dismiss this bogus indictment that will go. Goodman ended up being one of our expert witnesses, going back and forth with those hacks that the government paid to talk about Russia. They couldn't handle Leonard Goodman. And Angela Rainey, I can't say enough to salute Angela Rainey, who was brought into our team by Leonard Goodman, and that was an absolute game changer on so many levels that I don't have time to tell you about. But I will say that you've heard about the 2.5 million books worth of evidence, 13 terabytes. I think Angela's been through at least 10 or 12, maybe all 13 of those terabytes. She also did brilliant work on so many different motions and also argued in court before the judge in an incredibly powerful way. So we want to salute and express our love. And Tom Ginsky, who was a key part of the team, who came to St. Pete many times with Addie Griffin to meet with us, who had sharp analysis and contributions to everything, and who was there every step of the way. We salute Tom Insky. And finally, Addie Griffin, who stood up in that court and said to the jury, a revolutionary, a man of conviction, a man who has fought for the liberation of Black people for his entire life, Omali Yeshitela, is not for sale.
And I really want to urge everybody to watch the reenactment.
Yes.
It's on Burning Spirit, the Burning Spirit channel, TV channel, YouTube. It is really powerful to see.
And the last thing I wanted to say, you should check out those reenactments because our lawyers are very sweet and nice people, but not when you are on the stand under cross-examination. And what those FBI agents had to go through, I would like to tell you that I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but I don't want to lie. Now we bring it up. Let's bring it up.
I just want to say it's been the privilege of my life to represent Penny Hess and to get to know Penny, Jesse, and O'Malley. Three people, I've never met three people with more integrity, more courage, and more dedicated to their cause. So it's been a great privilege.
I want to reiterate, coming onto this case, I really thought about it, because of what was involved. I got the call that said they accused of working with Russia and, how serious, the organization. And I just thought about, is this a good idea? Would I get attached to this?
Yes, so that's all, man.
Um, But like, when I really thought about it, I said, well, why did you go to law school? And when I thought about it, I said, this is the type of case that I went to law school for.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is the highlight of my career. I've said this before, but like I saw my father in the chair. As far as like being a revolutionary, being, the self-determination part of it. And, one of the first things that they did, when we got on the team was that they brought us up to St. Louis. And I left there saying, and I told my family that this is why they're indicted. It has nothing to do with a protest. It has nothing to do with a petition, but it has everything to do with the Black Power movement. And the real work that's being done, because that is that's the threat to America. That freedom. And my father, he's a psychologist, he's the Black psychologist, and he said, he always talked about the mental slavery piece. And then when you free the mind, they're in trouble.
That's right.
And so African People's Socialist Party and all the work that they're doing with the 53 economic businesses and everything that's going on, it's a great example of how we're not only saying the right things, but we're doing the right things.
Yeah.
And that's what the great is. So the fact that we were able to go into the courtroom and not hold back.
Yeah.
Because we thought about it. When the chairman said, I want you to put them on trial, it's like, well, we're the lawyers. Let us figure out what we're going to do. But that was the best strategy to do that.
Wow.
Because we could have easily kind of hid the facts of the organization, not really talk about what the organization does, not really talk about what the organization speaks about. By putting it all out there, I think the jury really saw, not only was that like, these are not a bunch of quacks that allowed the Russians to take advantage of them, but these are strong people, powerful people, revolutionaries that have been standing up for the last 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And we were able to present that to that jury. And that's the reason why I refer to like I said, the fight isn't over. Tomorrow is very, very important. It's really up to the judge as far as what's going to happen. We have a good indication based off of Augustus Romaine's sentence that what could happen. Our strategy tomorrow, just so nobody won't be surprised, if you're looking for a lot of theatrics, there won't be any. Our strategy tomorrow is really just to kind of lay out. Just focus on what's already been presented without presenting that much more. We did send out sentencing memorandum. We sent the 400 or 500 letters that you all had mailed in throughout the country, so the judge has all that. But we're really just it's going to be a lot more simple than the trial. But your presence is very, very important because we want the judge to see again how much support that the organization has. So we appreciate everything and thank you all for all the support.
Thank you.
Whenever I tell the chairman and Jesse that I'm not going to speak, that definitely gonna speak. Oh, I would reiterate what Lynn Talkie said, that it's been the greatest honor of my life to work on this case. I've never been involved in anything of this magnitude. It's really amazing. And the support that everyone has provided throughout this whole trial from the beginning. I mean, you all have not flinched at all, under this. You saw through what the government was doing. So, it's just amazing and, support 745 pages of letters that I. It's amazing. So I really appreciate you all and, I'm glad I got to be involved.
Yeah, from that subject. Yeah. We don't have much time, so this is rather disruptive what I'm doing now. But I wanted to just say something, when Haiti won its independence, it had to fight like hell, and it won its independence. And the whole white world, including the United States, initiated quarantine, economic quarantine on Haiti to force Haiti to pay reparations to France for its lost property. And the property that France lost was enslaved African people.
Yes.
What they have done with us is I'm facing 5 years in prison and $250,000 fine. Reparations mean, and this is what this whole solidarity movement has been organized around reparations. They're demanding that I pay reparations to them. That's where we are. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Well, so on that note, as we especially salute all the work of everyone for the last 2.5 years, we want to transition to line to Secretary General Wazy Odom, who is the chair of the Hands-On. As the chair of the Hands Up World Campaigns, I have to say, for almost 2.5 years, I've seen this comrade jump immediately into action. It was actually the morning of July 29th when we got the phone call. We were building towards stuff and some party work in San Diego, and I saw and we jumped immediately into action. And as the comrade was proposed with leading the work of the Hands On World campaign, the comrade never flinched. California's 3 hours behind or behind the East Coast and Central California. So I've seen the comrade wake up and be on meetings that might seem okay out here. But at 6 o'clock in the morning in California, and go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've seen the comrade do this for over 2 years, almost 2.5 years, while holding a colonial job, while parenting two beautiful daughters of Africa. So I just want to really salute Comrade Wazy for and of course, if she could be here right now, she would. But luckily, because she ain't here, I get to be here. So I really want to salute Comrade Wazy.
Wait, I want to also salute the Uhuru baby that Comrade SGM Wazy is carrying.
So, trying to keep a comradely in there. So the PowerPoint, she will include surpass 2.5 years of hands-on food actions, victories, our membership organizations. So I just want to really pass the Chairman Wazy now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep going unless I can't be heard, but I just really thank you, comments. I really just want to appreciate this phenomenal Sunday rally. I wish I was there. It feels like I'm there. Just you can feel all of the energy and just the, powerful, movement that we are all a part of, coming through this screen. So I just want to say everybody who's tuning in with us online, who are there on the ground, and I just really want to say our MCs and my leadership, Chairman Amalia Shatala and Deputy Chairman Amalia Shatala, and the entire African Revolution and, the history, our history as African people is historic. And this is a historic moment for us as African people, and for all freedom loving people. And it's such a great honor to serve as the chairperson of this really dynamic mobilization towards, not just freedom the Uhuru free, but towards freedom, because that's what this has always been about. So comrades, want to just go through a very quick PowerPoint. I had to start taking out some slides as we were going, because I know we are short on time. So I want to appreciate our Zoom techs who are doing a phenomenal job, and we're going to help me move through this really quickly. So again, this is you are part of the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition, in case you didn't know. And this coalition is a non-sectarian, as we said, anti-colonial free speech coalition to make the demand to drop the charges on the Uhuru 3, which we have done, and to defend the right to freedom of speech, which, as we know, is not over. I want to salute all of the organizations who have been a part of this fight back since day one. I'm going to go through this, overview and just share a little bit about who some of you are. And if we forget to name you, it's because you're just not enough time. And we will continue to salute you, comrades, because your work has been profound. I want to salute the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparation from Ghana, I think this is phenomenal. Quite frankly, the Black is Back Coalition has been at the forefront as well as moving a mass mobilization, for social justice, peace, and reparations. And none of that can be, none of those things can happen separately if we're not talking about the anti-colonial, anti-capitalist fight back, and that's what this is about. I really want to salute the comrades from the Union. These comrades have been with the African People's Socialist Party in support of this, really long and profound relationship. And as we say, from Steve to Chinese, the Indigenous people must be free. We want to salute and so please can go with the demands of the demands of the Hands of the Fight Back Coalition. I also want to salute Comrade Imam. I'm a lead of the things that grow and hopefully continue to grow. And so thank you, the impacts of being in these colonial prisons and significant medical issues that perhaps the comrades can share more later on, but I want to salute this comrade. I also want to salute and acknowledge, as we say, not one more year. Freedom culture. I want to say all the comrade and relative of the culture is free and returned back to his community on his stolen land. I want to also salute other members of our, coalition, those who have come under attack and continue to come under attack, stand in solidarity with the Palestinians. With the Palestinian brothers and sisters, against political state repression. We say victory to Palestine. And comrades, I also want to salute just the international reach that this campaign has brought. The U.S. Hands on Cuba Committee, which we have been for the 20 years of activity across international waters. Of course, as we talk about political prisoners, our Uhuru will not be political prisoners, and part of this fight back is to make sure that does not happen. And I want to salute Chairman Amalia Shatala. I want to salute Penny Hass, the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and Comrade Chair Jesse Neville, the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And all of the comrades who came out right on the back, want to link the community. So before I can get the quick record on the day or days after this raid on July 29, 2022, and want to salute Comrade Bio and Comrade salute and recognize the living legacy of Mr. Gary Brooks. You saw that video in the beginning of today's webinar about the Black Power movement and why we needed it. And we want to salute and acknowledge the man who inspired all of us and really inspired us to continue to build upon what was left in North St. Louis and the African people's, fight for determination and for a prosperous life. So we want to salute and say, long live Mr. Gary Brooks. With all the volunteers and the community of refugee have been quite well. Also, like to say, how I do here, who was, very close to our movement, and he was a really profound member of the early days of our fight as well. So we have heard, and I want to appreciate the overviews that have been given about the Uhuru 3 and how profound this case is. This case is leading the anti-colonial free speech movement. As we know, this is a counteroffensive against those bogus charges and the bogus raids and the violent raids on the African People's Socialist Party on July 29, 2022. We do not have time to go through all the attacks, but you can find this information on our website. Go to handsoffthehulu.org, click the about, and you can read the entire timeline of attacks since the burning of the flag, which happened 27 days before before the attacks on the 29th, to the removal of the petition charging the United States with genocide, to the closing of personal bank accounts, to movement bank accounts, withholding of funds from these fiscal sponsors, slanderous attacks in the media, a burning of a church that we were in process of purchasing on the ground in St. Louis, right across the street from the chairman's home, and the continuous attacks, which we see still to this day on the Black Power blueprint. I want to salute Deputy Chair Otis Shikara, who actually has said and included another day of the over the solutions of the impact of the Black Power blueprint, as well as the continued fight back of the African People's Education and Defense Fund to open a bakery and cafe in North St. Louis in what is known as a food desert, and which has faced a ongoing, fight back from the city of St. Louis. This is just a local battle where we understand that the money that should be going to the Black community is money that is going into the pockets of these developers and these colonizers. And so we say, long live the Black Power movement, and we want to support our institutions. I want to really salute the comrades who are on the ground still at ground zero. This fight back, comrades, has reached over 6 continents. We are everywhere in this fight back, and I want to salute everybody who has made this fight back one that is, one that is sort of books. And again, as I said, we're building an anti-colonial free speech movement, and we're asking comrades to continue to spread the word for this fight back. On tomorrow, you will be receiving a text message if you have not already. Signed up for our text message, emergency response, for how we can continue to spread the word. We want people on social media all over to continue to have people tune in to the live broadcast of the sentencing. Those of you who will be in the court, that's amazing. And those of you that won't be, we encourage you, comrades, to join us online. Just for the few moments that I have, I really want to salute and appreciate everybody who has donated to this fight back. We understand many of you bought plane tickets, hotels, in September, and you're back again now. Many of you have been donating since day one. Some of you are new donors. It doesn't matter. Y'all have been just remarkable. And without your donations, we would not be where we are. We have raised over $600,000 in contributions. As you mentioned earlier, so, comrades, this is just a profound fight back. I just really want to see everybody who has donated. And again, as you said, you're still fighting back. You're still raising resources for this appeal. And that is just the link where you can go. As we know, the Uhuru are facing sentencing up to 5 years in prison and fines of up to $250,000 each. And that will not happen on our watch, comrades. Because as we know, throughout this fight back, we have been putting this out everywhere so that this does not happen behind closed doors. Thank you to our tech. over 100, even more than that, media interviews, articles, commentary. Many of you also have written articles about the Uhuru Tree, webinars upon webinars to raise the resources, but also to put out the political line, because as we know, this is a political attack on the Uhuru Tree. I want to thank everybody who has joined us throughout this entire fight back, who were on the ground in St. Pete for the long, hot summer, and it was a hot summer. I want to salute the comrades, Enyo Chimaranga, and all the other comrades who flew in to St. Pete, who stayed for months to have a scorched earth campaign and to put flyers, posters, banners, yard signs, everything around Tampa, and St. Pete area to make people know that this was happening. And I want to salute the historic free speech, anti-colonial free speech trial of the century that took place in the federal courthouse. As the chairman said, the U.S. government lied and lost. The Uhuru movement told the truth and won. And again, one thing that we want to, be, clear on, as Comrade David started this, we don't work for the Russians. The real conspiracy was that and I want to encourage everybody to, I just skip the slide, but to salute our amazing attorneys. Again, here's a picture of those who were not here. We want to salute, again, Addie Griffin, Mutaki Akbar, Leonard Goodman, and Lorraine and Tom Inslee. Also want to salute Comrade Lauren Reagan of the Civil Liberties Defense Center, who was there since day one, helping us assemble not only our legal team, but also our legal defense support committee. Again, all of our donors, all of our supporters, there are so many images and photos and videos to be shown, but again, I want to salute us from South St. Pete to South Africa, comrades. We have been hitting the ground. And I want to salute our amazing media army team. Again, somebody was mentioned before, this is the brainchild of Deputy Chairman Zermaine, who said to us we have to put this out back there to the world. Thank you, timekeeper, we're almost there. And I want to salute everybody who helped put this together in really record time, going through hundreds of pages of transcripts as well. As well as our volunteers who helped to get this out internationally. Paulina for your Spanish translation, Esther Loisy for your French translations during the trial, our sketch artists, as well as those of you who wrote the over 1,600 letters for the Uhuru Tree, many of which we will also be putting out and publishing with, and those of you who wrote letters, you'll hear more about that. And lastly, well, not lastly, but to also say, and to salute those again of you who are on the ground who have been still putting up posters, even this morning, comrades who are on their way to the Uhuru House and dropping out the yard signs, putting this out there in the world that on December 16th, these comrades will be facing sentencing and we will not let them spend one day in prison. If you have not already got any Uhuru gear, it's not too late. I'm sure that there's some information there on the ground. But I also wanted to announce that there is a new shirt, and this is a long time coming, but you can still, you can get this shirt and hand it off to the button shop. We'll go straight to the food planet. Continue to follow us online. For those of you who are watching online, please make sure that you go to Hands Off Uhuru on one of these platforms and join us. And on the ground, if you are on the ground in St. Pete, you must leave with a copy of the Burning Spirit in your hand. This is this is a media platform that the U.S. government is afraid of, and this is the longest standing institution of the African People's Social Party. This is the easiest way to support the work and to help push the political line of the people, the line of freedom. So you will hear later on in today's program the outline for tomorrow's event, starting with the press conference, how we're going to pack the court, and how the rest of the day is going to go. So please stay tuned, comrades, because we understand, again, clearly, this was a political attack on the chairman, on the African People's Socialist Party, and on you, all freedom-loving people. So we say, join your Hands Off Fight Back Coalition, build the anti-colonial free speech movement, and comrades, it's not over. Hands off the Uhuru Tree. We are winning. We will win. Uhuru.
Want to salute my leadership at Mwezi. I'm really grateful for everybody for showing up. It's been an incredible presentation so far. I mean, this rally is packed. You all look great. And I know we have just an incredible segment where all of our supporters are going to be coming up. And if you have a program, it may say a certain amount of time, but for the sake of time, we're going to spend, maybe 90 seconds for each person to make a statement, and 90 seconds to maybe up to 3 minutes max. If their timekeepers can help us with that, just pay attention. You'll see the signals come from right in the front with the sign saying, 1 minute remaining or 30 seconds. And we want to be disciplined in that. That's how we got to this point, was through revolutionary discipline. And so we're going to start with a statement from Comrade Zaki Baruti, who I understand is here. We'll follow with Charles Barron. We have William Casa Ricks here, followed by Cam Howard. Athea Waza will be speaking, followed by Pam Africa. So I'm just making everybody, letting it be known. But please do come up and just really excited. Uhuru, comrade.
Uhuru, I'll make mine real quick. Not one day. I can't hear you. Not one day. I still can't hear you. Not one day. All right. And I'm just here in total solidarity because it is the right thing to do. If we seek freedom, justice, and equality, and a whole new world order for humanity. Yeah. For humanity. Yes. Yeah. So it's in that spirit why I'm here. And I salute you, Chairman, as well as Penny, as well as Jesse. And I salute them too, because under great pressure, it's easy to cave in. Yes. And they have not caved in. So on that note, I'm closing out. Not one more day. I mean, not one day. Not one day. Power to the people.
I'm so glad my sister opened up this program with some gospel music. It gives me the opportunity to still try to get this man to heaven. We're trying to keep him out of hell on earth. Black power! Say it like you mean it. From New York City, Big Apple, never gave us a bite. I want to bring you greetings from Operation Power. Brothers and sisters that are working hard in New York, they believe in you, they believe in my chairman, and we have turned things around in East New York. We beat the mighty machine, stopped gentrification, stopped Walmart from coming into our district, freed 3 political prisoners, and we believe that this movement is going to reverberate all over the world. The Summer Talk movement was there first. Nobody even had to solicit their support, and they made that commitment. So I say we winning. And in New York, you heard about the Neely case. The brother that they choked to death. Well, Eric Adams was on trial. He had failed.
That's right.
The American legal system was on trial. It failed.
That's right.
This brother should have been fed. He was hungry. He was on a train asking for food, dancing like Michael Jackson.
That's right.
And what they did is choked him to death. When that creep put him in the chokehold for 30 seconds, after the train stopped, all the passengers left. Nobody was in danger. Not a soul, and he held them for 6 minutes more, even when his body was limp. So we have not stopped. We're going to fight for justice for Jordan Neely, and we're going to say to this world, you touch us again, We are no longer just going to be peacefully rallying.
Well,
We have a right to self-determination and self-defense. We're not the only ones that can bleed. We're not the only ones that can have funerals.
Well,
Our people have been very patient. Don't try us.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from Lily McCusker.
All right, we'd like to make an announcement. There's someone with a Chevy, EQ, BTZ. That's either Z or 2, or 9 FM. It's parked in front of someone else's home or something like that. So if anyone here has a Chevy, EQ or Equinox or something, it just says BTZ. The plate is BT, either Z or 2, 9 FM. Does that sound, anybody here have a Chevy? Does that sound like your license plate? It doesn't say the color. It might be a Chevy. Anybody- Do you have a Chevy? Just check. All right, so now we want to bring up a comrade, Willie McCosta Ritz. Oh. Indigenous is no stranger to this Uhuru House, to the Uhuru movement, to chairman, to St. Petersburg, Florida. Is what is that? 58 years ago, after chairman, December 1966, tore down that mural. Willie McCosta Ritz came down here and helped organize. So Uhuru, bless up.
Greetings, Africans. First, I want to say that Chairman and the whole Uhuru movement, y'all don't realize that I used to be the chairman of this movement right here in St. Pete. When the army went down to the police station to attack it for its racism against African people, O'Malley led the way and they put him in jail. And when he was in jail, Jim Foreman and Elsa Manor saw these warriors in jail and called me in and said, Mukasa, go to Florida and free O'Malley. I came down, took over the organization. All of those that weren't qualified to be in there, put them out, brought in some fighters, and we got O'Malley out of jail. But for that short time, I was the chairman of this movement. Don't y'all forget. And secondly, only time they ever called me to speak in the movement when they need the people to go out and fight. And now it's time to go out and fight. All over the world, the people are under attack. In Palestine, in the Congo, in Angola, in Mozambique, in Iraq, in Yemen, the Palestinians, everybody. In New York, in Philadelphia, where they murdered all those children in the community, dropped bombs on the community. And this is what this government is doing. They're assassinating our leaders. They murdering our people. They raping their land. They raping their people. They building jails and prisons all over the world. And we need to burn every damn well down. It's time to fight. Everybody got to join the Uhuru movement, join the organization, join guerrilla groups, and let's bring this damn bastard to the ground. Damn the Democrats, damn the Republicans, and damn America, damn capitalism, damn imperialism, damn Southern colonialism, and long live the African Revolution. I want to say that I've been with all the freedom fighters. I was their general, Stokely, Ralph Brown, all of them. Black Panthers trained them. And the most dynamic and longest organizer, and not only a great speaker, but a great organizer and someone who has served the people on Marlin. He's great cold. He's one of the coldest trees in the bushes. So we thank you, Marlin. And we glad to serve you. And we gonna fight with you. Are y'all ready to fight? Yeah. Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to pick up whatever it takes? Your firebomb, your gun, your rifle, your sprint. Are you ready to fight? Everybody say black power.
Black power.
Black power. Don't get to be off the time now. I can't even hear you. Let me say it again. Say black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Power. Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru.
Wow.
I need to get some $6,000 to get out. I'll fight though.
I'm honored next to have Kim Howard come up and speak. Uhuru.
Reparations now! Reparations now! I want to thank the leadership of Chairman Amali Yesatellin and Deputy Chair Danae Yesatellin for bringing me into a movement that produces power for Black people. I just talked about it because there's been a lot of Black nationalists that's been talking, or African revolutionists that's talk about power, but we see actually power being produced in the community all around this country. And thank you for bringing me into this movement. Attorney Mataki talked about putting the government on trial. And we definitely put the government on trial. We called out the crimes of enslavement, put them on trial for enslavement. We called out crimes of genocide, and the jury got a chance to hear these crimes systematically over 400 years that took place in the African communities by the white ruling class. And that was one of the most significant things that came out of this trial. Not that only that they were found not guilty, but we got a chance to put before a jury into the federal record in this country the crimes of enslavement, the crimes of colonialism, the crimes of neo-colonialism that we exist in today, the crimes of apartheid from 1865 to 1965, and I call what we also experience today neo-apartheid, because the disparities that exist in this country is a result of the separate development that still exists between the white ruling class and the working class in this country, particularly Black people in America. So we exist in a new period of criminality that hasn't stopped. 400 years of continuing criminality, and that's what this trial represented. That we have put this country on notice that the fight will continue until we are free.
Next we have, I'm so pleased to introduce Ifia Ngwaza, a founding member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. Uhuru.
A member of the Atlanta Project, tip of the SNCC sphere for the Black Power movement. Well, now that we've heard all the sermons, I guess it's not enough for the song, so I'm going Victory, victory, victory is ours. When the people fight the battle, we always win. Victory, victory, victory is ours. When the people fight the battle, we always win. One more time. Victory, victory, victory is ours. When the people fight the battle, we always win. Victory is victory. Victory is ours. We go fought the battle, struck the blow for freedom. We have won. Victory, victory, victory is ours. The people fought the battle, struck the blow for freedom. We have won. Uhuru.
Uhuru, Uhuru, we have won. We are winning. Uhuru. So now we're happy to have our fierce fighting comrade, Pan Africa.
Uhuru. Uhuru. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna kick the bone out these motherfuckers. You know what? We have done it. I just want to say something about when I first seen the Uhuru organization and with the group known as the Solidarity Group, Solidarity Committee. I was like, what the fuck is that? Something up here. In Philadelphia, I was underground after May 13th.
Yeah.
And there needed to be a movement up here. We had people in jail, people underground.
That's right.
I was with a young child, and I came above ground because we had to do the work to free Mumia. We had to bring Mumia off of death row. We had to bring the necessary information and build a movement to take these motherfuckers down. And then understand, we are no joke.
Right.
People were saying, it'll never happen. And you know, find something else to do. And Mookie will be on death row. They killed this one, they killed that one. But when you believe, and when you know you got everything you need with you. See, we're not without. Yasha Telly has never been without. He's been building a movement.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, I was like questioning, where did he come from? Here in Philadelphia, where I see these kind of people want to jump in front of a movement and make a name for their damn self,
Yeah.
and then they go.
Yeah.
Oh, and wait a minute, hold up. Who the hell are these white motherfuckers? Who in the hell are these white motherfuckers? Talking about they follow Yasha Telly. And and I was told that Yasha Telly was the front for the white folks. And but see, I study, I watch, and throughout the years, I've seen it, I've been a part of, giving them hell, not believing, but you learn. I watch carefully. I watched and I talked about Penny. I talked about all the rest of the white women in hell and I was a part of the people who was a part of people who are coming and giving their all. Y'all should tell me, this family, the members, I've seen members come, I've seen members go, but I've seen the steadfastness of a brother by the name of Yasha. And all that he brought. And and I really feel bad. No, I don't feel bad because it was the time.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are they? Now I don't know. I've seen, I have seen them. I believe in the not because somebody told me, but years and years of watching when they said, I will be ashes. I believe it was like, and a movement, was after they dropped the bomb and killed people in the family.
Yes.
Mumia's life was on the line and stuff. We had 9 people, in prison.
That's right.
I seen them come up and help organize. And and I'm still pushing. What is they concerned with us?
Yeah.
They're concerned with African people.
Yeah.
And we brought a group of people who said they was going into their community to fight.
Yeah.
And see, not only did they have to fight in their community, and with white folks who wanted to know, well, now you come up here and talk about these niggas for
You know, like you got some sort of traitors.
Yeah.
You know, we in the neighborhood, we don't want these white motherfuckers up in here. Come in our neighborhood talking about this stuff again. I watched this build through the years. I watched Penny, I watched all the other sisters and brothers, and they brought jobs into our community. And gave people hope where there was no hope. And went inside the prisons and did the damn. Did the damn outside the prisons. I'm saying, it's a lot I have to say about the Uhuru group, the Solidarity group, but all I got to say now is long live the spirit, long live the fight,
Well,
long live the example. We talk about evidence in the trial, it's evident that the Uhuru organization, the Uhuru family is about what they said that they're about. They're about reparations for Black people. They're about building for Black people. The Solidarity Group is about going into their communities and bringing people out and getting them to understand where we're at with this. It's evident. It was evident in the courtroom. It's evident in demonstrations. It's evident here today. The work that each and every last one of you putting in. And to my sister, I got 1 minute. And I know how it feels to wake up in the morning and you see these terroristic fucking demons, monsters with guns on you, and motherfuckers that have no respect for your life. They killed our children. They just came up with the fact that Delisha Africa, Delbert's African daughter, Janet African daughter, who's in jail for loving people, for loving life, for telling the truth. And the mere fact that they had her bones, her body in there, and then to hear how, it was like good. There wasn't even a body parts. It was because the fire was so hot, so heavy, that it was like melting flesh and skin. These people did this to our children, and this to our brothers and sisters, and still we rise and continue to fight these people, not just for the sake of us, but for the sake of anybody, because anytime these motherfuckers is allowed to get away with what they're getting away with today, and they're not getting away with it because people rising up every time you turn around. People that we don't even know. I don't know these people who found body parts. They wasn't even born when this thing happened. All I'm saying is this motherfucker is falling. And it's falling because of the lives of brothers and sisters who stand up in this. I've turned around this room. I'm not just talking about brother Dr. I'm standing here today and strong as I am because of brothers and sisters all throughout this room. The people united will never be defeated.
That's right.
Especially when you're under strong leadership, and all I see is strong leadership throughout the years. People I didn't know, I'm seeing solidarity forever. Let's take this motherfucker down. And I wish I could say I'm sorry about seeing all these motherfuckers. All is what's got us here today to stop again, to take this motherfucker down.
All right, just a reminder for time, check down here. We're gonna welcome Comrade Ward Churchill, author, professor, and activist who's been a mainstay of the Hands Off Uhuru Fight Back since the beginning, and a friend of the Uhuru movement for decades. Uhuru.
That's supposed to follow him. Supposed to follow her and Willie Ricks. Whoa, okay. You know, the Cheyenne, Lakotas as well, had a procedure where it came the moment, it came the time, it was understood. And they took the little bridle from their horse and tied it around their ankle and took a picket pin and drove it into the ground, and they would go back no further
Yeah.
until they won or they died. Some people break, some people bend, some of the other kind. Speaking personally, and I've done a lot of speaking. I've run my mouth way too much over the years, but that's okay. That's part of what I do. The one line that was most important, reach down into the streets to where the actual people are.
Yes.
Well, Pam said it, fuck off. You can kiss my ass, I'm not apologizing, I changed nothing I say because what I said was true. Well, meet another. Meet another.
Yeah.
Meet one,
Yeah.
2, 3, a whole row.
Yeah.
You've got others in the room. You do not back up.
Well,
You do not back up.
that's right.
Really. When you don't, people will respond. I remember the waiter giving me a free glass of orange juice in an IHOP one day because the only thing he could think of to do, hey, you're him, here. Okay, big orange juice too, wasn't even thirsty, but there it was. Free parking, that's all the guy could do. Yeah? Well, you find the people at that level, and as the society would say, below, understand and respond as best they can, and if it comes to the moment and you're staked out, they will come to defend you as you defend them. That's the nature of the process. That's unity. That's the significance of this case.
That's right.
That is exactly why it's important that we be here. It's exactly why it's important we be in the courtroom tomorrow, and it's exactly why we continue to build
Yes.
on the victory in the court,
Yeah.
in the field, to nullify the thing once and for all. And when we're done, I have a candidate for being on trial as an unregistered foreign agent for as long as I can remember, and his name is Alan Dershowitz, but it's a whole lot of him. We do not back up, we do not back down.
That's right.
Power to the people, power to the people.
Uhuru. All right, so in a perfect follow-up to Comrade Professor Ward Churchill, now we bring up our comrade representing the struggle to free political prisoner Leonard Peltier, the struggle for liberation of Indigenous people as the owners, as the true custodians of this land, Indigenous people called Turtle Island. Comrade Paulette Gautier.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Leonard knew I was coming, and they actually got out of lockdown for a few days last week. And so Jennifer told him that we would be here, and he said, "This is the war cry." So we understand that what this trial was about was the attempt to start dismantling us as warriors.
Yeah.
And the chairman and Penny and Jesse, stood there solid. And all of us who have that respect need to do the same. It used to be that when we were at Big Mountain, there was a line drawn and white people were to be in the front. We were there because we were in solidarity. We respected the name. But more than that, we respected Mother Earth. And so our responsibility was to be the first line, whether you were in a wheelchair, a walker, young or old. As a white person, it is our responsibility to organize white people, but also to stand up and say, we are in solidarity, we respect you, and if there's anything that we can do, Chairman, Penny, Jesse, we will do it. And also, I work with Jericho, and Jihad got to meet his first grandchild, so he said to tell the chairman that he has another warrior coming up to stand in solidarity. When you have a chance tonight or tomorrow after the court, please call the White House and ask Biden, say, look, your son got out, how about adopting Leonard Peltier? From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you, and land back. Land back.
All right, Uhuru comrades. So I'm really proud to introduce my leadership. This is the leader of the African National Women's Organization, Comrade President Yejide Orumila.
Uhuru, happy to be here.
All right.
I missed the first time when you came down here for the trial because I was a proposed witness. And so I couldn't be at the trial, but I'm so happy to be here now and stand with my comrades and be able to say something. So I wrote something and hopefully it will be in time. So the African Women's Organization stands in unwavering solidarity with the Uhuru Three, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Chair Jesse Neville, and Chairwoman Penny Hess. We demand the immediate freedom and an end to the ongoing attacks against them in our movement. Since the 2022 FBI raids, AMWO has stood alongside our comrades in the Uhuru movement to ensure that the Uhuru Three do not see one day in prison. As an organization created by the African People's Socialist Party to bring African women into being conscious, revolutionary, political, activated organizers, our members have tirelessly participated in and organized protests, formed and supported local and national committees, and traveled across the country to demonstrate our unwavering commitment to their freedom. In fact, AMWO members were on the scene just hours after the initial raids, standing resolute against the assault on the African liberation. As African women, we are all too familiar with the treachery of U.S. domestic colonial state. This system's foundation is built upon the kidnap, enslavement, and forced exploitation of African women. Our very wombs were turned into factories, producing generations of laborers for a parasitic economy.
That's right.
The colonial state's attack on our right to be free, to be self-determined, and to resist oppression is nothing new. From silencing and criminalization of mothers whose children are targeted by the family policing system, also known as CPS, to the militarized assault on the Black Power blueprint. These attacks are deliberate attempts to crush African progress. The raids coincided with the launch of a vital community project such as the African Doula Training, a project aimed at improving the lives of African women and their children. something the US cannot do and will not do, but drags itself all over the world and talk about the equality of women. When right here and right now, women's rights to make a family, planning, and reproductive choices are under attack. And adding insult to injury, the US government, just months after the raid, had the audacity to name its $25 million initiative for women entrepreneurship in West Africa, the Uhuru Growth Fund, while simultaneously imposing economic sanctions on the Uhuru movement. And these sanctions threaten the very health and economic programs that empower African women, such as the African Doula Project, the African Independence Workforce Program, and the Uhuru Wakulia Freedom to Nurture Health Center. Let there be no confusion, the real Uhuru projects making a tangible difference in the lives of African women are those birthed by the African Liberation Struggle. Not the hollow initiative of the US government and their so-called Uhuru Growth Fund is a lie designed to undermine working class efforts to truly address the issues that we are confronted by.
That's right.
And this attack on the Uhuru 3 is not just an attack on individuals, it's an attack on African self-determination, on the right to challenge the colonial mode of production that has kept our people in chains for centuries.
Thank you.
And we call on all women and all freedom-loving people to stand with the Uhuru 3 and the Uhuru movement, not just for this victory that we anticipate tomorrow, but for the ongoing struggle ahead. And no matter the outcome, the fight has already reverberated across borders and political lines, striking a blow against the colonial state that we never expect, that we anticipated, and we fought for. So women for Mali, women for Uhuru 3, and women for the Uhuru movement today and always.
Okay, so now, let's, we couldn't hold a rally without, without featuring our exuberant and powerful, Comrade Lisa Davis, Vice Chair. And reparations, gotta remember that the Black Spot Coalition has a last name, and that's reparations. That's right.
Uhuru. First of all, let me say without hesitation that the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations stands 100% unwaveringly so behind our chairman, Omali Yeshitela, and the Uhuru 3, which is makes up Jesse Neville and Penny Hess. We have stood firm from the get-go, from the beginning, unwaveringly so.
Yes.
And so has people in this movement. I just want to real briefly say, because everybody has really said everything that has to be said, but it has just been an honor knowing Omali Yeshitela and the Uhuru movement for 16 years, and to be able to say that I have never seen him waver. Never seen him walk from the principles he puts forth. I can't say that about everybody that I've worked with in the movement, but I can absolutely say that about him. And to even see it even more, once he was under attack, I am so proud and honored to stand with him. And also regarding the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, I just want to say real quickly, I remember when Charles Byrd, some of you may have heard of him, he was beheaded when a Klansman dragged him through the streets of Texas. They tied him to a pickup truck and dragged him through the streets, and his head came off. And I remember I was in East Orange, New Jersey that day, and East Orange is a predominantly Black neighborhood. And I remembered I was at a city council meeting, and this white woman got up, and she apologized in this Black community, East Orange, New Jersey. And I just remembered saying to myself, you say that in front of me, why don't you take it to your own community and say that? Take it to them. Would you go into those white communities and apologize? Well, I'm so glad to say that when I heard of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, those are exactly the kind of things that they did. And I don't want to be a friend if we're just sitting down and eating over lunch. I want to know how you feel about reparations. I want to know how you feel about colonialism. I want to know how you feel about the horrors that happened to Indigenous people, and what do you say to your community about that?
Yeah.
I ain't interested in what you got to say about what do you say to yours, and can you say that to your community? I want to say yes, they do. I've seen them do it. We stand with you, and we're gonna be with you tomorrow. And also just one other thing I want to say real quickly, the strongest thing I saw about this movement, and I think it says everything about it, is that they offered a reward of up to $10 million for anybody to say anything, to lie. That's what they do. They get people to lie. And we know people in our community are so vulnerable. They come after them to lie. They threaten them. They bribe them, and they threaten them with arrest and imprisonment. But nobody, they couldn't find one person to do that. And I think that speaks to not just the personalities involved in the Uhuru movement, but the principles. Yes. What they're taught. Big difference between being taught to sit down at the colonizer's table as opposed to being taught to overturn colonialism and self-determination. And thank you.
I want to welcome Jennifer Sullivan from the Florida Green Party and longtime friend of the Uhuru movement.
Oh, whoops. Oh, that's pretty perfect. Okay. Well, I just want to say we are in the nation of indoctrination, and we are right here in this state is the actual laboratory, and we're seeing that. I guess I'm not even talking, but anyway, we're seeing that in who's going to Washington right now. A lot of our. It's nice to get rid of Rubio as our senator, but he's going to be the Secretary of State. Anyway, so I'm just thinking back, like it's happening again. But when I was back in school, in preschool or grade school, and was told that China was evil and communism was bad and bombs could drop on us at any time, and we had these lessons that were full of evil, and like fear. And we were congratulating ourselves for what we've done as a country. And I learned the contrary to what I was being told. When I got to high school, I found out things were different. I started reading Ramparts magazine, and I just found out that we didn't win the West. The West was stolen, and innocent people were slaughtered, and their freedom fighters were called savages. I learned the slaves were not happy, and they were not well cared for on the plantation. Their freedom fighters were whipped, and they were hung on trees. Things I were taught were wrong, and I wondered why. And then I saw that they were serving a purpose, consolidating authority and power, and they have a narrative of why those in power have to have it in the first place. So the most evil, the greedy, the ruthless, they take power, and they subject everyone else. Well, what I do know that once I found out that what I knew was I was told lies. And so, I found out the real truth, and things like Fred Hampton, when he said, I am a revolutionary, I said, I'm a revolutionary too. I was the best kid, but I wanted to say that the chairman of Mali and the African People's Socialists is a force for good, and they're warriors for justice, only seeking reparation for centuries of a variety of evil. And so they're not just teaching, they're empowering people. And I want to say, Uhuru!
Uhuru. Uhuru. So now, up we have, excuse me, as I, now we got Caleb. Uhuru, this is perfect. Uhuru, okay? We have to really salute Caleb Martin and the Center for Political Innovation. I mean, you've seen him all around the world, all around the world, right? So you seen him in Russia standing up, bringing us to the world stage. So we talking about them elephant stompers, right? And the people coming. in support. That's Caleb Maupin and the Center for Political Innovation.
It's really humbling to be in this room with so many lifelong fighters against imperialism. It's really an honor to be here. And I'll be brief, but I just want to say this. I'm an Irish American. I'm a Protestant Christian, but on my finger, you will find an Islamic Akek ring. The reason that I wear that is because when I visited the Islamic Republic of Iran in 2015, I learned the origin of this, and that apparently the Temple at Mecca, before it was conquered by Islam, was full of idols. And so the Prophet Muhammad, his followers smashed the idols, and he wore a piece of one of the idols on his finger to commemorate the victory of the one true God over falsity and idolatry. And when I heard that story, I was forced to think of what I read in the work of Thomas Carlyle, the Scottish philosopher, who spoke about why it was that so many of the great prophets, Jeremiah, Moses, and so many of them smashed idols. And he said, we don't really believe that ancient people were stupid and they thought they could just carve a piece of wood in their backyard and it would be God. No, originally these idols stood for real truths. But generations went by, generation after generation, and those real truths were forgotten. So the prophets returned to earth to smash those idols, to connect the people with the truths that those idols once stood for, with the truths and the principles that they once stood for. And so I've always worn this ring since I visited Iran. And I've always looked up to people who I see as idol smashers, as returners to truth, and that's Chairman O'Malley. Because you say that the Democrat Party is an idol. The white left is an idol. And I am high time ready to celebrate and stand up for those who smash the idols that hold us back in the struggle to defeat colonialism.
It is an honor now to be joined by our comrade Belinda Parker Brown.
All right. Wow, it feels good up in here. It feels good. You know, there's something about when you're in the right place.
Yeah.
It feels good. I don't know how y'all was feeling before I got here. But I'm telling you, I'm here and it feels good up in here. And it's looking good, real good. It's packed up in here.
Yeah.
Because you're in the right place.
Right.
For the right time.
Yes.
For such a time as this. But I just want to know, and I hope you can answer this question, sir. Yeah, let me right step right there. Where have y'all been all of my life? See, I got 1 minute, and I'm gonna say this as quick as fast as I can, people. Is that I had to change around my neck. I was being dragged by the colonizers.
Yes.
But I knew something was wrong. Something just wasn't right. But when I got introduced to this man and his wife and began to study and see what this work was all about, I realized that I was not going to be held back any longer. So one thing I do want to say, don't wait till the same day to book a flight on Delta. When you know you got to be somewhere. Don't wait till
So there's so much more I can say, but not enough time. We like to salute our longtime Black is Back Coalition member,
Well,
new abolitionist,
well,
movement leader,
well.
and WBAI radio. And If you think you follow the fashion of Sister Betty Davis and bring it back to that as owners and AS Teller. But anyway, come on up.
Stand up!
Yeah.
Stand up! Stand up! Before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Before I be a slave, I want to salute you as a, you can sit down now. Because you got a long road to hoe. I've been here as a captive for 80 years in the worst colonial, vicious, capitalist system in the history
Yes.
of humans on this planet. And I'm standing on land. They have done everything they can to exterminate people. Then they apologize, and then they won't let the hero and the warrior of these people free. They'll let a drug addict go free.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that the person who's doing all this is the one who was responsible for the crack cocaine legislation. So all I'm saying is this. I want you to understand why this is all coming about. All right. And one of the things Henry Honeycutt said was, let your motto be resistance. Resistance. No oppressed people have ever secured their liberty without resistance. What kind of resistance you had better make, you must decide by the circumstances that surround you. So you see your circumstances. So we know the resistance that we're going to make on tomorrow. All right, I also want you to understand that one of our comrades, okay, said, liberty is meaningless where the right to utter one's thoughts and opinions has ceased to exist. So those of you who know Frederick Douglass, when you hear him, you understand why you're going to resist tomorrow. And last but not least, I want to tell you about two young 26-year-old men. One strangled a victim of capitalism. The other one dispensed with a vicious leader and benefit of capitalism, who's responsible for the death of thousands. I know whose side I'm on. Thank you. It is an honor to have with us a powerful revolutionary, anti-colonial author, professor, and activist, Natsu Saito.
Thank you. It's really an honor and very humbling to be here among this incredible group. And I just wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you for bringing us together here on what I believe is Miccosukee land, where I feel that the ancestors and the spirits of this land are appreciating the resistance and the energy that we see demonstrated today. And I wanted to say thank you for approaching this trial and these struggles in the way that you have done, because what you have done by refusing to play their game, by telling the story that you know to be true in their court, the courts of the conquered, by doing that, you have brought out the truth. And the truth is that nothing that they have tried to pin on you is true.
Yes.
That was a bunch of smoke and mirrors. And the full might of the federal government has been brought down on you for telling the truth, for saying we are colonized still here on this land, for telling the truth about what should be done about our history. In other words, what reparations would actually look like.
That's right.
And for building the community rather than asking the government to please save us. By demonstrating, by acting in a self-determining manner, you have brought down the full weight of the federal government's behind you. And that tells us something very important. Those are not, in fact, difficult things to do. To tell the truth and to build in our community.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so while we recognize and appreciate that you all are heroes of our movement, for the way in which you have stood up and in the way in which you've been recognized here today, we don't all have to be heroes to do the work of decolonization. We can all tell the truth. We can all build from the ground up.
I need to take notes, so I'm going to return to that part. We really thank you for that, Professor Saito. That was on point. That was really on point. One thing Chairman talked about and others talked about was how many people this work has brought together. I want to bring up Comrade Mark Friedman, who was a little bit over 2 years ago, December 10th, because it was at an Action for International Human Rights Day. And on December 11th, Mark had invited us to our very first event showing unity with the Hands Off Uhuru movement. So really, and he's taken us to Cuba and back twice. So we're bringing on up, Comrade.
Thank you for this invitation. I come to you more importantly as an official representative of the International Association of Machinists, which decided that this was an important event, that the defense of free speech and demanding not a single jail day for any of the Uhuru three was important enough for me to come from Los Angeles to bring you greetings, to thank the African People's Socialist Party for being part of the LA Hands Off Cuba Committee in San Diego and Los Angeles. The accused, the attacks, the assumption of agents of Russia is not unlike what the US government has done to the people of Cuba, and in particularly the Cuban Five. Five Cuban revolutionists who left their country to be part of underground reporting back to Cuban on the attacks made by Cuban counter-revolutionaries in Miami. They paid for it dearly with 15 years in jail. We are not going to let that happen to any of their Uhuru groups. It has been too long that the labor movement has been quiet on the issues of women's rights, immigrant rights, the cop killings that have taken place around the country, the attacks on the LGBT community. But now I think things are beginning to change. For too long, union officials have only dealt with contract issues. This was wrong. It isolated the labor movement from the Black struggle, the women's movement, the Chicano movement, the Puerto Rican struggle. Scores of unions should be here today, but we hope that the IAM sets an example of what needs to be done, because it is a new generation of labor leaders and activists that are today on strike against the Amazon labor union at two centers in New York. It is the new activist leaders of the UAW, of those who are organizing auto plants in the South, of nurses, of teachers. This is a new generation of young fighters that I believe will be part of the fight for Black liberation in this country. We see these changes in the unions representing tens of millions when unions will come out against the U.S. blockade of Cuba. Okay, they will demand that Cuba be removed from the so-called terrorist list. Okay, things like that. In ending, I want to say that on behalf of the Cuban people, on behalf of the Machinists Union, but especially on behalf of the Cuban people, to thank the African People's Socialist Party for their decades-long support to the Cuban Revolution. And I want to extend an invitation, as we have done, and Emweezy has come to Cuba with us for 2 years now, to every one of you to come to Cuba, to come see the possibilities of a future that we are building towards. That despite the attacks by the US government for 65 years, the Cuban people are relentless as you are in defending your rights, in defending sovereignty, in defending their right to build a socialist society. So I hope you consider it. Come see me afterwards if you would like to come to Cuba.
What a remarkable statement. And I also want to say, I want to salute the compas and that we have and the compañeros that are here. Some individuals, some of our comrades speak Spanish exclusively. So, I just want to acknowledge those who are in the Spanish speaking community. Pues sí, tú sabes, yo puedo hablar en español, pero. Ay, Dios mío. Next, we welcome leader of Friends of the Congo organization who joined us twice on the ground here in St. Pete, building support for the Uhuru 3, Paul Pumphrey.
Sisters and brothers, on behalf of Friends of the Congo, a country I visited again this summer, I'm here to say that we're here standing behind and supporting the Uhuru 3 for the peace and justice that they stand for. And let's be clear, the Democratic Party nor the Republican Party are innocent of the crime of genocide.
Right on.
Many people have been made aware of the genocide that's been going on in Palestine, but they're not aware of the millions of people that have been killed in the Congo. And why? Because corporate interest wants to steal the mineral wealth from the Congo. Many people are aware of what's been going on in Palestine, but not aware of the crimes that the US government and the Democrats, as well as the Republicans, are doing against the people of Haiti. And so, let's be clear here. If anybody should be put in jail, it should be the Biden administration. And we're scared about the fact that they had that poor Haitian woman set up there and lied to the public over and over again about how Biden was not going to stand up and take his son off the hook. Yeah, that's exactly what he did. And I don't see him making any public apologies. I haven't heard a line in his behalf. We need to be clear in this country that we have a government, both led by Democrats and Republicans, who are criminals. Who serve the interests of the multinationals as they rob African people in Africa, in the Caribbean, and Central America as well. So again, free the Uhuru 3.
Long live Uhuru. Long live Patrice Lumumba.
That's right.
So, it's a pleasure to welcome this longtime supporter. I will tell you how long this supporter. I think this supporter has been a part of the solidarity contingent of the Uhuru movement for over 40 years, and you can tell how long he's been a part of the Uhuru solidarity movement by what I refer to him as Red Beard. No, it has been here, you know, it has been. So, that's what we have with our Red Beard.
I want to support the African People's Socialist Party. and President Yeshide for her leadership on the reenactment.
Yes.
In the seventies, an African coworker of mine named Yakini told me I should talk to the Black nationalists. So I did. I talked to party members Aziza and Hibasheshe.
Yeah.
And I bought the first issue, #1 of the Burning Spear, the big broadsheet. Hibasheshe invited us to join the July 4th movement to free Desi Woods in 1978. I salute Desi Woods,
Yes.
Sister Rashida,
Yes.
for her courage. And I salute the party for clarifying that the issue was colonial violence. It was not the women's issue. And I salute the party for their clarity on the national question and for bringing colonialism to the forefront. Most of my volunteer career has been in Uhuru Foods and Pies, and I salute and honor DC Oni Ishitela. And Comrade Sayale and Comrade Maureen.
Yes.
And isn't it great to be here with Maggie and Kitty and their daughters, Nikki and Emmy. I salute Comrade Chimaranga.
Well,
Everything I've done in this movement since '78 has been Uhuru Solidarity Movement or the struggle for reparations. I salute Jesse Neville, head of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. I salute my wife, Ellen. I couldn't be here without her. She's been my partner for over 40 years in this movement. I salute Penny Hess and APSB. Steadfast, unrelenting, tenacious. A brilliant move by the party. And I salute the hundreds of white folks over the years who have come through the movement, contributed little things and big things. And for different reasons, they can't be here today. But they contributed to the movement, and here we are, each committing bigger, strong. And finally, I salute you, Chairman. For me and my family, you've been a comrade, a mentor, a compass, and a friend.
Yeah.
Unwavering, always consistent. And one thing I've always been impressed by with the chairman, I've been to hundreds of meetings and events. And whether there's 5 people there or 55 people, the chairman immediately thanks everyone for coming out.
Yeah.
And then gives the full program. Doesn't matter how many people. And finally, and this has really kept me anchored for a long time, you've given us the profound opportunity to be part of the ever-emerging forces of international socialism.
We are happy to welcome Mark Anderson, who's also been a profound supporter of the Uhuru movement in so many ways for more than 40 years.
I have to say that it's only 40 years. You look at these diets here, I've been doing it for far longer. Microphone. Talk into my. Yeah, it's higher for Janabum. Salute Chairman, who I know I speak for many of us, changed my life, and those are so many more. Jesse, who's really shown what the next generation can do for this world.
yeah.
And I wanted to speak mostly about Penny, because part of the reason I'm here in person is because I'm back on possibly as a character reference tomorrow, but that may not happen, and if it does, I'm sure I wouldn't be able to say the same things. When I couldn't speak to her character, can speak to her intellect. I know Ward Churchill has pointed out that in another life she could have had a career as a bourgeois academic. I'd like to point out really the immense capability and capacity she's shown as a leader and as a manager. I think in the movement, we often inflate the idea of the skills that exist in the capitalist corporate world in that area. I can tell you as someone who has spent as much time, as many decades in that world as I have supporting this organization, that that's just not true. And her skills are rare. I think one thing we could have all seen in the trial is the life of a professional revolutionary is not glamorous. And we could just see in those terabytes of data, her incredible attention to detail, her, you know, just sort of patience with the process, her ability to sort of respond and leave no detail unturned.
Yeah.
As well as just her ability to sort of build an organization. There was a mention before about, you know, the importance of heroes. And I think like many people in the white community, we grew up being told that people like Thomas Jefferson or Mother Teresa or Rudyard Kipling should be our heroes. And then anybody with their eyes open will learn that, you know, those were all horrible people at best and at worst, rapists, murderers, torturers. But I'm almost done. But when I was younger, I would have been too cynical to say, but now I do believe that heroes are important. It's how we learn to behave. And the Uhuru 3 constitute leaders and people we can emulate.
I'm going to introduce President Matsumela once more to talk more about Impida Uhuru.
Hello. So I know we're a little bit behind on time, but I want to, as the president, international president of the International People's Democratic Movement, really thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody for sticking around. I mean, this is bring it. How should I do it? Closer to me. Is this better?
Yeah.
Uhuru. So I would like to, but you hear the feedback. Uhuru. So I would like to thank everybody for coming out, for being here today. This really, I think, you know, it's been said over and over again. I really want to begin with how Sister Sight talked about the elephants being able to hear other elephants for hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. She said 6,000 miles away when they stomp, and then the others come in support. And this is that the stomp went out July. Actually, the stomp went out, I want to say July 2nd. That's what I want to say. I came up here and I saw the African national flags, red, black, and green, because on July 2nd, 2022 was when the attack was made against this building. Under the way of a neo-colonial force and military grade flamethrower during the work of the United States government, signaling the attack that came on July 29th with the attack on 5 homes and institutions of the Uhuru movement. So every single person in here, the people who we've worked with for decades, we're talking about going back to 1966 in this room to 1972 in this room for over 40 plus years. You heard Redbeard come up and talk about the Desi Woods, the day, I think that's July 4th, 1979, if I'm correct, that day of action, right? That was a clarion call was put out, and you all showed up. So I really want to give you all a round of applause for that. I'll just say about my organization that I got here, right? This is some gear we credit saluting the Junta of Militant Organizations, the Black Power organization formed here in St. Petersburg, Florida by Chairman Omali Yeshitela in 1968. I want to note that the Junta, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement was formed in 1991. in Chicago, Illinois on April 6th. That was the day when in 1968, little Bobby Hutton, the youngest member of the Black Panther Party, was assassinated. Chicago, Illinois, December 4th, 1969, was where Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were assassinated, signaling essentially the government's conclusion of that assault against the Black Panther Party. But underneath the leadership, the strategy of Chairman Omali Shatella, it was in 1991 that the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement was created. It was created and observantly so in a defensive posture to defend the African community against the attack, the counterinsurgency attack waged against African independence. However, what we've seen in the 33 years since then is us move from the defensive to the offensive. And the Hands Off Uhuru campaign, of which the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement have been a stalwart member of that campaign, represents that offensive. We heard about the work of the Black Power Blueprint, the economic work, solidarity work, the mass work by way of the coalition work of the Black is Back Coalition. All of this represents us going on offensive. All of this represents us overturn that verdict of colonialism, right? But not just for African people and colonized people, right? You heard even people come from the colonized population who refused. That Desi Woods campaign was important because that's people say, look, we want to be free, but we don't want our freedom to be at the expense of other people. And that's what happened. 600 years ago, when Africa came under attack, that's what happened. A better life was taken away from us, so a better life be given to white people. And we have to understand that. But in most iterations today, we say we're going to all move into history, into the future together. That is what this is about today. That is what tomorrow is about. That's why tomorrow. You don't just step into 60 plus years of history of the war movement. You step into 600 years of African liberation history. Of Garvey, but I tell you this, their response to the colonial state's response to Garvey's position as they shipped him up, this defined position as they shipped him up. Exactly. They say befuddle me around the people's response to Garvey and Garvey's defense. The same befuddlement they had when Chairman walked out September when they gave us the not guilty verdict. Everyone said, everyone said we are winning, right? Because that is what it is about. That is why I'm here. That is why you are here. So I didn't write any of that stuff down, and it's even better that I probably do. At this point, what I want to do, I know we're going to open up an open mic. I know Comrade Jesse, DJ Eddie, and then there's Comrade Tarver, and also Tarver. Want to come up. So we're gonna have about 5 to 7 minutes open mic here. We're gonna hold the speeches for 1 minute. You said when the donations come in?
If you want to donate, go to handsofuhuru.org. But you know, today we've got to eat.
Because we want to really recognize the fact that, hey, y'all heard Melinda Parker said, if you know the place you gotta be, don't buy no ticket just to the So we understand the unity and the support you all came and coming this way, but we also just want to let you all know, if you do want to continue support, we are still raising resources for the community and everything. We want to hand out the move that both sides.
And just to clarify that, we're having a caramel at the end of our program. So that is, that's what we're all.
So, DJ, come on.